Hello and a warm welcome. My name is Arun, and you have started watching the AI with Arun Show. In this episode, I'm delighted to introduce Debdas Sen, who is the CEO of TCG Digital, which is the flagship technology company of the Chatterjee Group. Debdas has led TCG Digital's transformation into a leader in AI, advanced analytics, and digital innovation, serving Fortune 500 clients worldwide. Before TCG, he was a senior partner at PwC. He holds a BTech from IIT Kharagpur and executive credentials from INSEAD. Devdas is a very recognized thought leader. He's a speaker and he's passionate advocate for social impact through technology. So Devdas, a very warm welcome to our show.
Absolutely wonderful to be on your show, Arun. We've known each other for a long time, so this is great.
Awesome. So let's jump in. So Devdas, can you share some insight with us on how your digital AI platform is transforming industries today? Talk to our viewers about some of the notable success stories.
Yeah, so if you look at mcube, that's what we call our AI platform. So mcube is what we call an end-to-end analytics platform, which does everything that needs to be done in the area of data and AI. So there are lots of AI agents on the front end. You can build these agents very quickly. These agents talk to each other. Sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't agree, but they try to come to a decision. Uh, and then there is traditional AI that comes along with these agents. There is some business intelligence pieces that comes along with these agents. It's got a very powerful uh, AI workflow engine working with it. It integrates with all major LLMs and multimodal models and some small language models for specific purposes. We have some of that built in-house. We have some which we integrate with the, let's say the Geminis of the world. And then it goes into a database structure, which has got a raw layer, which has got a metric layer, and then we have a semantic knowledge graph and ontology layer on top of it. And then we can pull data in real time. We can do AI in real time, but all of this with a very clear business impact. Uh, we work with three or four sectors. We work with the oil and gas sector, we work with the aviation sector, we work with the life sciences sector, and we're also the AI partners to the largest sports association in the world. So that's a latest thing that we've been doing, and it's an incredible way to. So we work with the Deutsche Football Bund, as they call it, or the German Football Association, and we're trying to transform the game so that it reaches more people. I think it's anyway the most popular sport in the world, but reaches people in languages that they understand. We do digital scouting and a whole bunch of things around that. So it's a fairly versatile platform that on one hand can you know refineries are optimized. On another hand, we help with development of new drugs, and then we make the game of football even more beautiful. So yeah, I've been working on it, and now significant impact. There's a big business perspective to everything that we do, and we typically count the dollar value of how it's helping our clients, and also also how it's helping the community, society in general.
Okay, wonderful. So it looks like, right from uh, football all the way to oil and gas and life sciences to drugs, there's a lot that you're covering. So if you can maybe, do a double click on, let's pick an example of, any one of your choice, your favorite one. Right. And if you could walk our viewers through, what a typical use case would look like, let's say in an oil and gas or a football, and how is your platform coming in and helping?
So, uh, we work a lot with both R&D and manufacturing across sectors. So what we do is we optimize operations, how we can get more margin out of operations, how we can get more EBIT out of, let's say, a manufacturing plant. Uh, so that's one side of it. The other side of it is how do we accelerate R&D? And so we are helping very large oil and gas companies to come out with, so they use something called catalysts. uh, to refine oil, let's say. So how can you come out with a new material? How can you come out with a new way of doing a process, an R&D process? And we've been working with that significantly. So accelerating R&D is something that we significantly focus on. Uh, and what's interesting is that the same piece that works in the life sciences sector can be translated to the oil and gas sector or the CPG sector. For example, how do you come up with new materials? You know, so there are active pharmaceutical ingredients in the life sciences sector, when we call it APIs. How do you come out with new APIs? Or how do you come out with new catalysts in the oil and gas space? Or how do you come out with a new perfume in the CPG space or a new paint in the CPG space? So formulation is one of the things that we work with. So significant impact on reducing the cycle time of R&D, and then significant impact on improving the margins in operations.
Wonderful. And those are wonderful use cases, and I'm sure your clients are loving it. What is some of the feedback that you're hearing from your clients?
So, one of the things that a lot of our clients are asking is Gen AI is going to change the world. Now, where is the impact from Gen AI? I mean, you ask a question to Gemini or Claude or GPT-4, and they'll give you an answer. Now, that's the extent to which people really understand Gen AI in general, but then how do you use it in an enterprise context? Is my data safe? That's a big question a lot of our customers are asking. So we work with a major biologics manufacturer in Florida and trying to optimize their operations, making their operations more reliable. And we use a combination of Gen AI and traditional AI and data management together to be able to deliver that impact. So the key question a lot of our clients are asking, and there are three of them, maybe I'll go through all of them. The first one is, how does Gen AI impact my day-to-day business? And and if I'm a big manufacturer, I'm looking for, you know, tens of millions of dollars of impact onto my business. I mean, if you make a $10,000 impact, that's not going to help. Now, running a large plant, how do you depend on something that tends to hallucinate at times, that tends to give you a wrong answer at times? I mean, if you look at all these Gen AI things, they will put a little caveat saying that, you know, our answer may be wrong, but you decide. But you can't do that in a real life scenario. So that's a big question that people ask. So they think that there is a huge opportunity, but how do we make sure that we're not making a mistake? How do you make sure that the plant will not blow off? How do you make sure that a whole batch will not go waste? So so that's a big question that our clients are asking, and the way we kind of manage that is using what we call a knowledge graph or an ontology to make sure that there is significant business context. For example, you put in the various constraints, physical constraint, design constraints, safety constraints, and etc. in in some kind of a format so that the answer gets filtered through that, and the chance of an incorrect answer significantly comes down. I mean, it's difficult to say it would be zero, but it's close to zero. I mean, we're all engineers in some sense, so we leave a little bit of margin of error, but and then we have a fallback mechanism. So the key thing is Gen AI really impactful the way that everybody is talking about, and how do you use that in a large context like $1 billion manufacturing unit? So that's one question everybody is asking. The other question which I'm getting off late is, oh, we are bringing in this agent and that agent, and agent is botifying, what humans can do, and we are now talking about. I just talked about creating new materials with agents. And what if the agent is wrong? And there are five agents, and do they talk to each other? Do they even give you a holistic picture, or is it always a point in time? And we've been working a lot with the agent-to-agent interactions to make sure that the reasoning model behind it is makes sense. I mean, there've been tremendous advancement that has happened in the last few years, and to the extent that DeepMind got, I mean, got a Nobel Prize. I mean, so Asabe. So the beauty of this is that AI is really coming to fruition, and if AI is coming to fruition, what are the risks around that, and how do various parts of AI interact with each other and be able to give a holistic, cohesive answer? So these are two things that I'm hearing my clients talk about, mostly mature clients. We work with large enterprises. So uh, is how do we make generative AI pervasive to have huge impacts? And two is, how do you make sure that AI being pervasive, how do various parts of AI and GenAI talk to each other?
Yeah, no, those are great insights, Debdas. Uh, also, how do you see, now that there are agents, right? So there is an AI to AI agent. You talked about the multi AI agent orchestration amongst them. What are your perspectives about the human to AI agent interaction?
The human in the loop is critical. You know, we work, uh, especially in the process industry, you tend to take a lot of decisions which is closed loop, where there is no human in the loop per se. I mean, that's how the process industries work over years. So you run an algorithm, and traditionally these were linear programs and multivariate programs, and then traditionally I came in, and then you get the control system to take the corrective action, and that's a closed loop. Now, in today's world, this has become very, very, very complicated, because from being deterministic to we have become probabilistic. Because if you look at AI in general, I'm generalizing a little bit. So there is a level of probabilistic perspective that comes in. How do you make sure that the answer from this probabilistic system is within a margin of error? And if that is so, then it's good enough to make the closed loop.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. You are right, because process industries work in a certain way, and then AI is sort of a little opposite of that, right? From being more deterministic to being more probabilistic. So how do you marry the two is always a challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So given the fact that you're working a lot with the legacy kind of companies in process industries, chemical manufacturing, right, oil and gas, they have a lot of legacy technologies that are available. And here we're talking about a lot of new technologies which require a completely new tech stack. So what are your challenges that your clients are facing in terms of marrying these two, the legacy technologies and the new ones, and how are you sort of helping elevate the problem?
So mcube, that's our AI platform, right? So what the philosophy with which we have built mcube is we have done it in modules, and we have done it in a way so that it is uh, interoperable, and we leverage the legacy as much as possible. So if somebody is running a control system for years, they're not going to change that overnight. So we cannot go to especially large enterprises and say that you rip everything apart, and they're running hundreds of factories around the world. So what we see is we leverage what you have, but we will make it interoperable and bring in what is new in the market, and then try to get the maximum from what is there along with what is new. A very classic example is, we're talking about the chemical sector, right? The chemical sector depends on the kinetic models. So I don't know if you remember your engineering days, there's something called mass balance, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. I'm a chemical
so
engineer, so yes,
you're a
yeah,
chemical engineer. There
yeah,
you are.
yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah.
you see, so the equation has to balance. And if you talk to the operators, I mean, that's pretty much what they care about. The the equation has to balance. Now, these kinetic equation, what happens in a, let's say, inside a furnace, is it's not like one reaction happening. There are like thousands of reactions that are happening inside the furnace. Now, how do you model that? Is the question. Now, and they model it using our traditional chemical engineering equations. But what happens is that they are able to model it to maybe 97, 98%, but there is still that 2% that remains. How do you bring in AI as an overlap? And I'm coming back to traditional AI for a moment to squeeze that asset a little bit for that little one, that last 1% yield. And and when we do that, it's not that we're throwing the kinetic models out. We keep the kinetic models, then probably bring in a optimizer with artificial intelligence built into that, and and that's the next layer. And then we bring in a natural language layer so that operators can talk to the optimizer or talk to the control systems or whatever. So one of the things that we're working on significantly is the operator's assistant. Some of these sectors that we work with, not a new chemical engineers are joining that. You know, everybody wants to go to space or do AI or something. So so it's kind of an aging population in the sector. How do you work with that? How do you bring that intelligence that's been there for years and then you plug it in with what's new? And I just give you the example again. I'll summarize. So you have the kinetics coming from the old world. You put in a layer of traditional data on top of it, and then you have natural language to interact with. So you're solving multiple problems at one go. You're making the asset perform better, which means like 1% yield. And in some of these cases, 1% extra yield could mean like tens of millions of dollars. And and then you're bringing in an interface where it's easy to work with and you don't need to have that 25 years of experience to operate. I mean, there's an example that we keep hearing that the best operator is who puts a screwdriver to the machine and can say that this is going wrong in the machine. Now, you don't necessarily need to have that in today's world of sensors, today's world of highly automated plants. It is very, very um, possible to be able to do what's called a digital twin and make it a real working digital twin. So, so yeah, I mean, so what we all, so we have a little bit of an advantage because we, in the TCG group, we have large companies who work in the chemical engineering sector. For example, we have a company called Lummus Technology, who are the leaders in the chemical engineering process licensing technology. Or we have a company called LabVantage, who are, they're the biggest lab information management providers. So we work with these teams who are deep in domain, but use AI to add that little value. So we've picked up some of the hardest pieces that AI should touch and trying to solve it.
Yeah.
The
So
consumer piece is easy. We don't work with the consumer piece at all.
yeah, no, that's a wonderful insight that you just gave, and I want to outline that to all the viewers. That while AI is great technology to help, but then it's really the domain that matters because that's what is solving real problem. So there's a lot of insight and domain expertise that you and the other groups or the TCG group are bringing in, and that's what is helping you create all these AI models that are purpose built and solving specific problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful. So, Dedas, you spoke about the TCG mcube, right? The mcube. What are some of the plans in terms of the advancement that you have in on the roadmap for the next couple of 3 to 5 years
See,
that you can publicly share, of
three
course?
to five, you know what? I don't know what will happen in 3 to 5. I can tell you what will happen in the next 12 months, maybe
Yeah.
24 months. I mean, the rate at which these foundational models are coming out, I mean, who knows? But uh, so one of the things that we're working on is we're calling it the uh, infrastructure for intelligence. And we're building the infrastructure for intelligence for the future of a bunch of industries. We're trying to build the infrastructure for it. I'll explain what that is in a moment. Uh, for the life sciences industry, for the chemical industry, for sports intelligence. Now, the infrastructure for intelligence is a view that our founder chairman, Dr. Punil Chatterjee, has brought in with all of us is, can the computer generate the design for the plant of the future? Can the computer generate the next or create the next drug formulation that can solve a particular type of cancer? Can the computer be so confident that it can look at millions of pictures and videos and identify the next Lionel Messi somewhere in a deep corner of India? Now, that's the vision with which we're working. We're working with some of the hyperscalers, we're working with some of the largest companies in the world, but the key is to push the boundaries of where technology can take us. And when we say push the boundaries of where technology can take us, we work with some of the best large language models that's there. We work with some of the best, AI models that are there. But we differentiate with what you just said, bringing in the business context or the domain into that. So, how do we bring in the domain, the business context into that, and then push the boundaries of that technology with that business context enabled by what is happening in the world of AI, just like DeepMind did. The protein folding in AlphaFold is unbelievable. I mean, so and large language models were not even there at that point, kind of. So can we push the boundaries of technology? And when I'm saying technology, I don't necessarily just mean AI or data technology. I'm talking about chemical engineering technology. I'm talking chemical process technology. I'm talking about life sciences. I'm talking about aerospace, and so that's the other area that we work in quite a bit. So can we create the future designs, future compounds using the advancement in technology that has happened? So a lot of our next 12 to 24 months is around that. So how do we get more out of what we have today? Stress assets to get more margin, accelerate R&D to come out with drugs quicker, scout millions of players around the world and try to find a Messi or a Cristiano Ronaldo in a remote corner of Africa. So that's where we are trying to push the boundaries of what we do.
That's very interesting. Not only are you targeting just one domain, right? Just looking across, but it's a very noble cause also that you're working towards.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a big focus in our group to to make sure that we have cure for you know diseases that does not have a cure today. Uh, Knowledge and education are two fundamental pillars that we have in TCG or the charity group, where we differentiate with knowledge. How do we make sure that what we are trying to do not only takes the available knowledge of today, and I'm talking about all knowledge, domain, data, AI in this particular context, and try to create the next version of knowledge, so to say, and try to solve problems that has not been solved. Try to go to frontiers that has never been achieved so far.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we also see a lot about other than AI is blockchain. So how do you see the emergence of blockchain or the more advancements of blockchain along with AI, solving other kinds of problems, in particular in the industries that you are present in?
So I'll give a different example and come back to your point in a moment. So when I was an ID KGP and you're also a KGPN, right? So when we were there, my final year project was building a neural network in C. So I had code which ran from one end of the building to the other end because I coded a what was then still there called a back propagation neural network in C. But then that was what? That was late 90s, right? For many years, and at that point in time, and by the way, it was called AI at that point in time. Hmm. Used to be called AI at that, and then we hardly heard anything for 20 years or so. And then suddenly we started hearing about the transformer model, and then GPT came into being, and now that same neural network has transformed the world, transformed everything in the world. Coming to your question on blockchain, I think blockchain has tremendous promise. We've been working with blockchain primarily because of its immutability. Once you have a stamp, it always is there. And we've been using that for tracking of vehicles for delivery. We are using it for various contracts. And then the challenge with blockchain and AI is that the data in blockchain, as you may appreciate, is very federated. I mean, the thing with blockchain is the data is not in one place, right? It's multiple ledgers all around. So the more advanced the federated learning uh, algorithms will be, the more advanced the ontology, the knowledge graph that I was just talking about will be, is going to determine how much more we can get out of the blockchain. So, and the blockchain has the promise to solve some of the biggest ecosystem problems. So, goods are moving from one company to another company to another company. So there's an ecosystem of companies, and the only way to be able to access that data in that ecosystem and get insights out of data is possibly a distributed ledger. And that's the promise of blockchain. But querying on a distributed ledger and doing learning on a distributed data ecosystem, we haven't seen that really developed as much. So it's still about bring the data in one place and then we'll do the magic. But leave the data where it is, and then we can still do the magic. That has not happened. So that's the challenge of blockchain. I'm a believer that with the advancement of federated learning, with the advancement in computing, again, the faster you compute, the better is a chance of doing federated learning. I think it's going to come back and have a much bigger impact than what it has right now.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. And rightly said, there are a lot of advancement that needs to be still done in blockchain. But other than blockchain and AI, what are some of the other emerging technologies that you are very excited about from your personal perspective, as well as from a TCG digital perspective in the near future?
So we're all looking forward to, and you just asked me a crystal ball gazing question. Okay, so I will take the opportunity and do that. Okay, so you're looking forward to quantum computing in some sense. I think it will change the paradigm of what can be solved if that kind of computing power comes into play. Uh, we have a research university that is focused on quantum computing as one of its departments. Is And we are talking about it's not matured enough yet. Yes, I know there are some companies who are saying, "Oh, we have a quantum computer." Yes, you have a quantum computer, but that can do a little better than add two numbers. It cannot run complex algorithms yet. I think that's the piece. I don't know what's going to happen with the cybersecurity world once that comes in. I know hardware companies are putting into play. So that's one piece that we're really working on. So that is on the in the area of compute power going up and be able to do a lot more, and which means that we solve a lot more problems. You know, the other one is linked with this is we know so little about our brain. Uh, so the neurosciences department at TCG Crest is working on that and hoping that quantum computing will come in quickly one day and try to understand our brain. I mean, some people say that we don't understand even 10% of what goes on in the brain. So that's the other piece. And again, Arun, I'm crystal ball gazing because you just gave me that right to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the third piece is around sustainability. So how do you create more sustainable, batteries to start with? And lithium, I mean, we keep talking about what is green and what is not green, and it's a complicated answer. Uh, but there are alternatives to lithium. That's not really the only option. And energy storage continues to be. I mean, yes, we now have big batteries that do store energy, but that's something that I want to talk about. I used to take bets on when controlled fusion is going to become reality, and that's going to change the world. But I think with my little bit of studying, I've realized that's not going to happen probably in my lifetime. But um, yeah, so these are the few, let's say, 10-year bets that we have.
Wonderful. And as so sooner or later, these technologies are emerging, and these will start becoming enterprise solutions. All right, where different kinds of industries, multiple business segments, they will start adopting them. So how should companies be thinking about adopting these technologies while at the same time they will always have legacy systems? I mean, today's systems will become tomorrow's legacy systems, right? And you rightly said no company will rip and replace them in overnight. So how should I, as a company, be thinking about all of these technologies?
No, so if the thought process is today, I don't think not too many companies need to think about uh, quantum computing and all that. I mean, it will take some time to come. But companies should seriously think about how to take advantage of what's happening in the world of AI right now. How do we take advantage of the advancement in the foundational models to do things in the company in a better way? Do things faster, do things better. Uh, how do you achieve much higher degrees of automation, which is straight to the bottom line? And that's happening all the time. In fact, I think OpenAI came out with something this morning or yesterday.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. I saw Sam Altman's tweet on X. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, and I was looking at replacing one part of our code base, and then somebody came back and said that, oh, we need 25 people for a year to do that. I was like, no, 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 you don't need 25 people for a year to do that. You can use 25 um, agents, 25 assets, but not all will be human assets. Some will be human assets and many will be computer assets. So think about that. So it's a change in paradigm. I mean, I'm talking about software companies here, but then if you're talking about other organizations, I think the advancement in the foundational models and advancement of AI, with AI becoming pervasive, it is very, very, very critical. At the same time, there is this whole thought around AI needs to be responsible. Uh, so no biases come in and stuff like that. So that's also an area that we need to look out for. But taking AI and making it their number one priority and making sure how does that impact the balance sheet and the P&L statement is something every single company in the world needs to do.
Hmm. No, those are great insights. Then the next question is more because you are a very recognized leader. You are a great people manager and a leader yourself, and there are many people who actually look up to you. So, what are some of your guidance and recommendations, especially for young people? What are the kind of things that they should be looking at learning? And that's one part of the question. And the second part of the question would be, what is your leadership style?
Okay, so two questions, right? The first one is what should young people do? Learn to
Yes.
pivot, learn to pivot quickly, put in the hard work to go to the fundamentals of how some things work. Don't be on the surface and just try and uh, do, I mean, jugaad is great, but don't do too much jugaad. Get to the fundamentals and understand what's working and how it's working. And there is no alternative to hard work and the depth of knowledge that is there. Very, very, very critical. Uh, my leadership style is a lot about empowerment. So I it's very important that there is, and it's empowerment with empathy. So you I really encourage my team to try and try hard and try different things and try to make it work. And and sometimes it doesn't work. That's okay. And many times it does work, and that's a brilliant thing. Uh, but not trying is not an option. So I keep saying this, that you will never get pulled up for trying hard and not making it work, but you will get pulled up for not trying. So so the and people feel empowered to do that, and and do that with empathy with colleagues, empathy with clients, empathy with everybody, really, because human to human interaction is finally the most important thing that stays with people. And you can have the best of AI and you can have the best of technology, but what lasts is the fact that I'm sitting across the table with Arun, and I had a nice cup of coffee sometime in the past, and we still fondly remember each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, people always remember you for how you treated them rather than anything else. Yeah,
And
and
that's what stays.
yeah, and I do want to underline one thing, that you said, especially to all the younger audience who are listening in, that go deep. Don't be on the surface, but go deep.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So with that, we come to the final segment of our show, which is the rapid fire round.
Mhm.
So here's my first question to you. What is one word to describe the future of AI? Your opinion.
Pervasive.
Pervasive. Okay. All right. So we'll go to the second one. What is the most impactful book or resource that has shaped your career?
Oh, wow. This one is a this one is a tough one. Huh? So I mean, actually, there's no ambiguity in that. It's the Bhagavad Gita.
The Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yeah. So for the audience who are listening in, I have known Deepada for a very long time, and his career trajectory has been phenomenal. I can't think of a better word for that. So if he says Bhagavad Gita, all of you should actually go read it if you don't already. The third one I have for you is, what is a technology trend that is overhyped in your opinion?
Oh, I just gave you new control fusion.
Central vision. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. You spoke about it already. The fourth one, what's your favorite innovation project at TCG Digital right now?
Well, I just talked about it. It's this infrastructure for intelligence on how can AI create the future of everything. And
Wonderful.
we are like really working hard on that one.
And wish you and your team good luck with launching that pretty soon. And then the last one I have, if you're not a tech leader, what would you be doing?
Well, I'm never a tech leader. I'm always a leader of people. So it doesn't matter whether I'm tech or not tech. I love interacting with people. I love creating relationships. And as I said, the only thing that stays with you is that human to human connection.
Wonderful. That's such a lovely and an amazing answer. Thank you so much. And that brings us toward the end of our show. Truly appreciate the time that you have spent with our audience.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
First, thank you.